Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the house like kitchen sinks. I'm sitting back and I'm reflecting, thinking as I so often do. And I'm thinking about how all the times they lock people up that probably shouldn't even be locked up. All the times that they overcharge people. All the times that the police actually say that you was doing X, Y, and Z when really you was only maybe just doing X. No pun intended right there. No pun intended. But with that being said, I am the self-proclaimed Mr. 30 Minutes or Better. Meaning that anytime I drop a video or story, it's guaranteed to be at least 30 minutes or longer. So if you're on your way to work, you're at work, you just don't feel like being there, as we so often don't. Boss is getting on your nerves, co-workers talking too much. You're on your way home from work. You need to laugh. You need to cry. Maybe you're trying to take a nap or you're trying to go to sleep at night, depending on whatever time you're viewing or listening to the video. Or perhaps you're just in the mood for a good old-fashioned true, keyword being true, penitentiary / real life story experience. Is the channel for you. If you prefer the 12, 13, 15-minute videos, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But over here at Real Kens TV, it's 30 minutes or better. So with that being said, once again, there is a message. Thinking about a situation that happened, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago, if that. And it's involving an officer, a correctional officer. Officer B. We'll just call him Officer B. Now, Officer B, he wasn't your typical correctional officer. He was a black dude, probably, I don't know, about 5'9". I know what you all were thinking. See, for you all that have never viewed the channel before, never watched the videos before, for whatever reason, I have no clue. Anytime I give a description and I'm giving someone's height, everybody thinks that I'm just automatically going to say that the individual that I'm speaking of is 5'11". And I don't know. I have no clue why they feel that way. But nevertheless, everybody thinks that everybody's 5'11". Merchandise coming real soon. But this individual, he was about 5'9", stocky built. Like I said, he's a black dude, caramel complected, short hair. Had like a little afro, just a little small afro or whatever. I would say he weighed a good 220, 225. He was the youngest. I want to say he had 5 other brothers and like a couple sisters. He came from it was a bunch of them. So it was a bunch of kids in his family coming up. And he kind of had that little man's mentality, even though he wasn't a little man. He was just short in stature, but he was far from a little dude. He kind of had that small man's mentality, stature, if you will. He was the type of correctional officer to where he didn't necessarily bother anybody. He was kind of on a level of, okay, you all leave me alone, I leave you alone. Don't bother me, I won't bother you. But at the same time, I've seen him get out of character a few different times. And he was one of those type of guys to where, I'm not calling for no backup. I'm not getting on my radio. Matter of fact, take his radio off, take his badge off. You got something to say to me, big boy. We can say it. We can rumble right here. We can get out of the view of the cameras and you can rumble right here. He was from the hood. I seen him get in a few situations as far as, because he had worked there for quite some time. So 7, 8 years ago, I wasn't there. But at the same time, I had seen him get into altercations with other inmates, if you will. So like I said, he just, he kind of just did what he did. You just know when he's on to just stay out of his way. He wasn't going to give you no breaks. He wasn't cutting no corners. He was strictly by the books. So we thought. So he's in the county jail, he's working in shifts or what have you. Now, he had been there for a while. So the way that the county jail works, it's kind of like you have seniority. So if you've been there for a while and they know that you like to work a particular unit, that's where they're going to keep you at. Well, he would typically work a unit, the PC unit. Just an easier unit to work. Everybody's not all out at once. It's not many people in the PC unit. PC unit is protective custody. So there was a unit that, he would work 5 days a week. Or Oh, he worked 5, 6 days a week, and most of the time that's where he was at. I forget which one it was. I don't know if it was BBAA. I forget. So he's working in the protective custody unit, and it was an individual that comes in, and he was charged with I don't know the exact charge, but basically he was accused of messing with underage boys. Now, when I say underage boys, I'm talking like 10 years old, 11 years old. This individual was a white guy. He wasn't that old. He was probably, this particular time, he was probably 30 years old, 31 years old. He had recently come into a lot of money. I believe he got like an inheritance or a lawsuit. It was one of the two, and he had a lot of money. So initially, when he got charged, he was released on bond. And then there was another individual that came forward, so he was recharged again. Then it was like 2 other individuals. So it ended up being like 4 little boys, I believe, that came forward. And at that point, they revoked his bond, put him back in the jail, made his bond higher. Well, after he, after those 4 individuals came forward and he sat in there a couple months, his lawyer was able to get him out on bond on an ankle monitor. He had to submit to random drug testing, and obviously he couldn't be in the neighborhood anywhere within 1,000 yards, I believe, of a school or kids or anything like that. So he's out on bond, and he ends up like failing a couple drug tests or what have you. So they revoke his bond, put him back in jail. Back to PC he goes. And you got Officer B. As I mentioned, he liked to work the PC unit. Just a laid back unit. Don't have to do much work whatsoever. Who wouldn't want that? So as the time went on, because like when you catch a case like that, these cases are not resolved overnight. You may sit in the county jail, especially if you plan to go to trial or you plan to really, really fight this case. You may sit in the county jail for 1.5 to 2 years just fighting the case. Sometimes longer. Now, typically it's like on more like murder charges. Not to say that this charge is not serious, because it's to me, it's the most serious charge that you can get. But nevertheless, he's in the county jail, and a conversation between the two takes place. Now, it's not one of those things where it just takes place immediate. This is like a gradual situation. Now, the dude, he's a scary individual. He's never been to jail before. He doesn't even have a criminal record whatsoever. He's worried about what people think of him. Obviously, people know why he's in there. It was on the news. So everybody's looking at him. Now, the thing about a PC walk, let me explain to you what a PC walk looks like. Basically, you go into a door. Once you go into a door, like the officer takes his key, opens the door. Once you go into that door, it's like a walkway. So along the walkway, you have individual cells. You have cell A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So you have 8 cells on that particular walk. You have a television hanging on the wall on this side. You might have another television on the other side. You have a bathroom. You have a shower. You have like maybe 3 or 4 different tables to where once you come out on rec or what have you, sit down at the table, write a letter, if you want to play cards or whatever. And that's pretty much what a walkway looks like. Everything is glass, so you can see through everything. So you can see through the main walkway. I'm trying to paint a picture for you all. You can see through the main walkway. That's like when you initially make your entrance into the walkway. But you can also see in each individual cell. Everything is glass, everything. And so this individual would often not come out of his cell. He was afraid. See, on PC, sometimes they'll let you out even amongst the other people that's on PC because everybody's on PC. Kens, how you know a PC? You been on PC, Kens? Nah, I wasn't on PC, but I worked trustee. So when I worked in the county jail, when I was on the trustee walk or in the trustee pod, they would alternate you. So one day, 2 days, you may be on the PC walk. One day they may send you to the hole. One day you may just go to a regular cell. One day you may go to medical. One day you may go to, how do you put this? I'll just call it another form of medical, like the mentally challenged, the mental health dorm. They may send you over there, so they rotate you. So that's how I know what the PC walk looks like. Y'all rock with me, man. and like some good old water. Shout out to all the truck drivers. Shout out to all the people that's working those long 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, whatever shift you're working. And you all say that my videos help get you through, your shift. I definitely appreciate you. Salute to you. A lot of times, man, the truck drivers, man, we don't understand that the things that we order online, the things that we want Amazon and things of that nature, and we want it the next day, if it's not for them truck drivers, man, we're not getting those items the next day. Probably not, period. So once again, man, I got mad love for everybody. Special shout out to all the truck drivers, man. Y'all be safe on them roads. But nevertheless, the two of them form some sort of I don't necessarily want to say it's a friendship, but there's a motive. There's a motive on both ends. See, the dude, and we just going to call the dude Jay. That's not really his real name. If your name is really Jay out there, no disrespect whatsoever. I don't want to just keep referring to him as the dude. So we'll just say Jay. Jay's motive is protection. He notices that this officer is there every day, every shift. So, well, not every shift, but the same shift every day. So he's wanting Officer B to protect him. Well, Officer B sees an opportunity. He does his research and he learns that Jay has some serious dope. So the two have a conversation and Officer B pretty much tells him, listen, man, it's some real savages in here, some wolves, some goons, man. And just because you on this PC walk don't mean that they won't get you. They cannot stand child pedophiles. That's the one thing that they cannot stand. Now, I can protect you. I can make sure you're going to be in here for a while. And by chance, if you end up getting convicted, I know some people that's in the penitentiary, it's in the prisons or what have you. I know people. I've been doing this for a long time. So Jay's like, oh, man, that's what I need, man. Could you do that for me? I mean, what's it gonna, what do I have to do? Officer B's like, well, protection don't come cheap, because basically I have to bust it down. I have to let certain inmates know he's off limits. Don't touch them. I got to break them off. I have to let other officers know when I'm not on shift. Hey, this guy's cool right here. Make sure that he's not out with anybody else. So give me $1,000 a week, man. $1,000 a week, and I'll make sure that you're good. Why am I supposed to get you $1,000 a week? I mean, it's not a problem, but I mean, it's a little steep, but how can I possibly get you $1,000, a week? So they make their arrangements. You have like Cash App, you have Zelle, and I'm not even sure exactly which form of payment that they use. Back then, I want to say the green dot card. So let's just say they end up using the green dot card. Green dot card is very easy. You just go to the store, buy a card. It's like $5 card. And basically you can load money onto the card. Or both parties have a green dot card, right? So if I wanted to send Officer B wanted to send $1,000 or receive $1,000. So let's rewind that because I just totally messed that whole. Both parties have a green dot card. Officer Bill to receive his $1,000, basically Jay would have his people get on the phone, get the account number from Officer B. Officer B, I slipped up again. Officer B's green dot card, and you can just transfer the money over. Easy process. And so, they figured that out or what have you, and they started doing that. $1,000 every single week. Officer B made sure that nobody bothered, he made sure that nobody bothered Jay. Now, that was pretty easy to do because he just didn't let any of the inmates out while Jay was out. See, when you're in protective custody, it's not like being in the hole. It is like being in the hole because you're locked down 24 hours a day. But I want to say 23, 22 hours a day. I think they get 1 hour, maybe 2 hours out every day for rec. And you can have your commissary, you can have your pen, your paper, you write your letters or what have you. When you're in the hole, you can't have anything. They strip you of everything. No commissary. A lot of times, now, depending on what you've done, sometimes you can't even get visits when you're in the hole. Some people have. I have seen certain people get visits while they're in the hole. But I've seen individuals that They're not even allowed to get visits. So it's a vast difference between the two, protective custody and being in a hole. This thing goes on for several months. And think about an inmate. There's a difference between an inmate and a convict. See, a convict can see something going on and he's not going to run and tell the people. He may try to intervene, cut me in or cut it out type, but he's not going to run and tell the people. He's not going to run and tell everybody what's going on. So word started to kind of, get around about this little situation that they had going on. Now, nobody knew the ins and outs, the specifics, but people just started to kind of notice. Like, now, hold on, man. This ain't right, man. Something ain't right. Officer B goes to Jay and he tells him, hey, man, they might be moving me out of the unit. What do you mean they might be moving you out of the unit? Who's going to look after me? Yeah, I know, man, but, I don't know. Did you say something to somebody? How could I possibly say something to somebody? I don't even talk to anybody else, and especially about the arrangement we have. Let me see what I can do, man. Just make sure you don't say anything or what have you. And so, Officer B, he comes back a few days later and he says, listen, man, they want to move me to a different unit. But the thing about this different unit, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to make more money than what I'm making because they're going to switch me shifts. And the job is a little bit more, entailed or what have you. Now he's running straight game on Jay. Oh, man, I don't know, man. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I tell you what, man. Now, it's just totally up to you, man. It's totally up to you. It's an opportunity that I can actually, that I've been looking for a long time. I'm willing to turn this down. But the $1,000 a week, man, it's going to have to go up to $1,500 a week, man. Because there's no opportunity. There's no telling when this opportunity may arise again. This is a promotion. This is, I'm trying to move my way up in the ranks, through the ranks. But if I stay here, this may not be offered to me another 2, 3, 4 years, and you long gone at that point. Okay, man, okay. So they agree. So here it is. This officer's getting $1,500 a week from an inmate that he's promising to protect. Once again, that goes on for a couple months. Jay's going back and forth to court. He's having different hearings and, his lawyers. He has a powerful team. He's hoping to get back out on bond, but they're not trying to let him back out on bond. It's 4 little boys that are all saying that he inappropriately touched them. So the months go on. Now the staff catches wind of it. The staff catches wind. See, the thing about prison, this is a lot of things, like a lot of people don't understand this. When you're in jail, when you're in prison, there's always ears around. Yeah, they have cameras, but it's not cameras everywhere, but there's ears everywhere. You have people that are in the jails that are working for the jails. They working that time off. And I'm not talking about a correctional officer. I'm talking about inmates. They're trying to, shorten their sentence. They're trying to get, a favor from the jail. Hey, shift command. I need to speak to shift command. Listen, man, I know a situation that's going down. One of your officers is extorting one of the inmates. What do you mean one of my officers is extorting one of the inmates? Well, basically, inmate J, he's in for, what he's in for, touching the little boys, inappropriately, what have you. And Officer B is charging him, I don't know exactly how much, but he's charging him money every single week to protect him. Well, how you know about this? Well, the jails talk. So, I'm not a fly on the wall, so I'm just imagining what, was said back and forth. So they really start to monitor this situation. They really start to watch this situation. When they watch it, they see that there is interaction. There's more interaction between the two. Now, they didn't talk much, but you could just tell by just watching and studying the cameras that, when they talked, it was like low conversations. It was brief, but it was quite frequent. They come to Jay to ask him. Actually, they tell him, listen, we know this is going on. They call him up to shift command. We know what's going on. We know that this officer is doing this. This officer can't protect you. This officer is just merely extorting you. You're not really even supposed to be out and amongst other inmates anyway. He's just extorting you. Now, at first, Jay tried to be real, and he tried to just deny it. But the thing about the officials and police, they love to say, "Oh, well, we know. We already know this. We already know that." Okay, well, if you already know, then what what am I sitting there for? You already know. So what do you need my testimony? What do you need my, to talk to me for? You already know. But Jay wasn't that type of individual. Jay agrees to work with him. Now, when I say Jay agrees to work with him, literally, Jay agrees to wear a wire. He's already in jail facing, felony charges or what have you. He agrees to wear a wire on this officer. Two of them meet up. They come up with a story. Jay tells Officer B, "Listen, man, I got some bad news. I'm not going to be able to pay the $1,500 a week anymore as far as through the Green Dot card. I had a couple situations go down or what have you." So now at this point, it's been several months in. Officer B, he's, just imagine you getting a $1,500 every week to do absolutely nothing on top of your work check that you're making. You're getting a free $1,500 that's hitting your account on the same day at the same time every week. You start to kind of rely on that money, which you shouldn't. You shouldn't do it, period. But in this particular situation, it is what it is. It was what it was. He did it. My people can meet you and give you cash on the street, but as far as sending it through the Green Dot, I can't do it anymore, man. Oh, man, that's an inconvenience. I have to meet somebody in cash and give me a little bit to think about it, man, and I'll come back and talk to you. Officer B's not even knowing the whole time that he's being set up, that Jay has his wire on. A couple hours, shoots by, what have you. He comes back in. He's talking to Jay. I tell you what, man, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to need $2,000 a week now. $2,000? You're going to charge me $2,000 to protect me? I mean, this thing started at 1,000. Now it's all the way up to 2. I mean, where's the ceiling? How high does it go? You come in another couple weeks and now it's 2,500? Hey, look, man, you need to take it or leave it, man. I have to go out of my way to meet somebody that I don't even know to collect cash from, and then take it to my bank and all right. Okay. $2,000 a week, man. But I can't do much more. I can't do any more than $2,000 a week, man. That's all that I can't do any more than $2,000 a week. So the two agree. Jay gets the information over to Officer B as far as, phone number, what have you. He's going to call this number, make the arrangements. Drop is made. They do that a couple times. First time, Officer B, obviously he's kind of nervous about it, leery about it, gets the money, no problem. Smooth. Second time it happens, smooth once again. And the whole time that this is going on, the person that Officer B is meeting up with is an undercover police. He's a narc. Obviously, Officer B has no clue. They arranged for the third meeting. At the third meeting, that's when everything hits the fan. Police jump out of everywhere. You know how they act like it'd be the smallest of crimes, and they'll jump, get on the ground, put your hands up, put your hands behind your back, get on your knees. Come on, man, all that old silly stuff, unnecessary stuff. They make the bust. They're arresting. So now Officer B is in the Fayette County Detention Center for extortion. And he has some other charges just as well. I don't know the exact name of the charges, but the most serious charge is extortion. Well, he's in the Fayette County Detention Center. They have to keep him away from the other inmates. Although he wants to go to general population, they don't want him to go to general population. So guess what? They have to put him on the PC walk just as well. Basically what they did was they took him and they put him in a whole nother, because like Fayette County Detention Center, they have a whole lot of units that are not even being utilized. So you may have a unit that only has 4 or 5 inmates in. So basically they just put him in that unit. And he was under PC because he was a former, notice I said former, immediately he was terminated. He was a former correctional officer. He hadn't been convicted or anything. He was just immediately terminated. So now he's sitting in the county jail. The judge don't want to give him, a reasonable bond. State of Kentucky, you don't get 10% automatically. I know a lot of other states, if your bond is $20,000, it's really $2,000. You just pay, 10% to get right out. Not here. Not here. You have to get a lawyer, and you have to, ask your lawyer to ask the judge, obviously, to reduce your bond, and the judge may do it, may not do it, depending on, the mood of the judge that day and what your charges are. Officer B's pissed. He don't want to be in no lockdown. He don't want to be in protective custody. He's trying to hit GP. It was a particular situation where Officer B had gotten into it with an inmate before, and they have tablets in the Fayette County Detention Center. So tablets, you can have visitations on the tablet. You can talk on the phone through the tablet, but you have to pay money. It's all costs of money. Nothing's free. You can listen to movies. You can listen to music, rather. You can watch movies all through this tablet. But at the end of the night, you have to turn your tablet in, and they have a machine. You hook it up to the machine, and it charges your tablet. The next morning, you can get your tablet out. It was a particular situation where Officer B had gotten into it with a couple inmates, and he talked strong to him. What's up then? They was going back and forth or whatever. Like I said, he'd take his badge off. He'd take his radio off, his belt, whatever. It's whatever, man. What y'all want to do? Now, this dude supposedly he knew how to kickbox. He knew MMA. He was, supposedly was good with his hands. They obviously didn't want to do nothing. Inmates know, okay, yeah, you say that. But ultimately, I'm going to get caught. This is going to be, reported back to the people if I bust you up so come on, man, miss me with all the tough guy talk, man. At the end of the night, they put the tablets. They had like a special room to where they put the tablets in. And so when you go to plug your tablets up, you go into this room. Two inmates decided it's the time. It's the opportunity that we've been waiting on. Officer B's in the room. Let's get him. Let's get him then. They run in on him. They get all they can handle. Officer B whoops both of them, whoops both the inmates. So the dude wasn't no slouch whatsoever. So after that, dudes was just kind of, leery about how they handled him, how they talked to him, because this dude done whooped two inmates, and these weren't two, punk ass inmates, to say the least. So with all that being said, that was one of the reasons that, Officer B just didn't want to be in protective custody. He wasn't really no protective custody type of individual. Put me in GP, man, with the goons, the gorillas, the hyenas. You see what I'm saying? Eventually, the judge ends up giving him a bond. He gets out on bond. He's on ankle monitor just as well. They want to monitor him, drug test him, or what have you. And he's going through his whole court, proceedings or what have you. Obviously, he's denying it. I don't know what these people are talking about. He never talked to him when they tried to interrogate him. I don't know what y'all talking about, man. This dude is lying. I don't know nothing. So he's going through the whole process. Now, y'all check this out. This is wild. This is real, real wild. As he's going through the proceedings or whatever, the evidence is, it's insurmountable. They know there's no way that he could win at a trial. Now, the only reason that I believe that the feds didn't come in and pick this up, or they didn't make it a hate crime, is because Jay hadn't been convicted at this point. So he was just accused. See, in Kentucky, if you do something to a pedophile, that could be considered a hate crime. And that's a whole nother league as far as time that you will get in his own. So as the months went past, Jay's case, it came to a conclusion. It came to an end. This is crazy. Jay was facing several different counts, 4 different kids, 10, 11 years old. Jay's attorneys got him a total of 12 months to serve in the county jail, in which he had already served that. So essentially it was time served. No felony, no registered sex offender, none of that. 12 months to serve in the county jail. And he had already served that for messing with 4 little boys. In the meanwhile, an individual that, although he wasn't doing the right thing, an individual that was more or less, making this individual pay, extorting this individual, gets 7 years. Judge talked very stern to him. Not only did he get 7 years, didn't even get it probated. Sent him straight to the penitentiary. See, in Kentucky or in Fayette County, Lexington, however you want to put it, I know different jurisdictions, they do it differently. But here, when you plead guilty, right, you come into the courtroom today, you have 3 different counts. Say you plead guilty to all 3 counts, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. You don't even know how the judge is going to run those counts. They can run them concurrent, all for 2 years. Or they can run them consecutive. 2 years, 2 years, 2 years for a total of 6 years. You don't know if you're getting probation. You don't know any of these things until you come back for final sentencing. Final sentencing is about a month later. That's wild. So you're pleading out to something you don't even know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're walking out of the courtroom that day. Officer B didn't walk out of the courtroom that day. Sent him straight to the pen. Now, while I don't condone his behavior, his tactics, I don't condone extorting anyone. 7 years to me was very, very, very excessive. And not to give the man probation, this man didn't have no criminal history. Yeah, he was wrong. Sent him straight to the pen. Of course, when he got to the pen, he was somewhat of I'm not going to necessarily say he was a hero, but people didn't bother him. He didn't have no issues. Plus, he liked to fight, as I've mentioned several different times. So he did his time in the pen, did a couple years, made parole, and ended up coming home. Well, all the while, this individual, Jay, because supposedly they didn't want to put the kids on the stands. They didn't want to make the kids go through these, traumatic experiences or what have you. Like I said, he had the top of the line lawyers. Jay did. And this individual is just out on the streets. It's wild because once again in Kentucky, they call them chomos in prison. They're protected more than anybody else. Yeah, in the county jail, somebody may get their hands on them, but once they go to prison and they get in the SO program, that's what it's called, the SO program, they're kept separate from everybody else. So you may see them out on the yard together, but they're together. They're like in a group. They're not going to be over here kicking it with, the other dudes on the yard. And they make it known. If you put your hands on one of these people, it will be a hate crime. Now, you're always going to have individuals don't care anything about that. People that already have a life sentence. People that, just don't care for those type of individuals. I have to watch what I say because I'm on YouTube and they, so they don't really care for those sort of individuals. But who does care for those individuals? You might have somebody that's doing a 5-6 year sentence and they go over and split one of their wigs before an individual that has a life sentence would. It just depends on who it is. But they protect these people, man. I see it all the time. I'm sure you all see it all the time. You accused of doing the most heinous thing to a child and you come out with probation, a misdemeanor, or you'll come out with only getting a year or 2. But you catch an individual that has a firearm and he's just trying to protect himself and his family. You want to send his case to the feds, or you want to give him a sentence enhancement and give him 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, small amount of drugs. It's backwards. Locking people up is a business. Private prisons, you got to keep them beds full. Every inmate that you have in filling those beds, guess what? That's a check every month from the state. You get paid per day for each inmate that's locked up to house this inmate. It's a business. I tell people that all the time. If it wasn't for private prisons, man, there's no telling how many inmates would not be inmates, if that makes any sense. They would have no room to house them. So therefore, they wouldn't even be charged. It is so easy to catch a felony. They want to give you 10 years in Kentucky, especially Lexington. They want to give you 10 years for stealing out of Walmart. All four of them little boys wasn't lying. So if one say, okay, well, one of them was lying. Okay, what about the other three? Okay, two of them was lying. All right, now you really pushing it. What about the other two? Because he has money to get an attorney, and they're sick if you ask me, and they come in and they're able to get these charges knocked all the way down to a misdemeanor, and the prosecution agrees with it, agrees to give this guy time served in the county jail, and he's been inappropriately touching kids. What part of the game is that? But guess what? It happens. Those are the people that they want out on the streets. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of those individuals that do that, sometimes you see it all the time. It's people that you would never even imagine. People that you thought that you could trust with your children are the ones that's violating your kids. But they look at the convicted felon and, oh man, he's a convicted felon. I can't hire him at my, not at my warehouse. Not at my restaurant. I tried to get a job at White Castle one day. Long time ago when I was coming home. And they looked at my criminal record and I'm like, okay, yeah, I did that. No love. Hardee's. Same thing, no love. I'm like, wow, y'all act like I killed somebody or something. But meanwhile, the people that had the most violent of crimes, that had murders, that did time in the federal system 12, 10, 15 years, people that were convicted of doing things to kids, you would hire them before you would hire an individual that ain't harmed a fly. The game is messed up, man. I still can't believe it to this day. 12 months, 4 little boys, 10, 11 years old. But the dude it was kind of like the bully was picking on the bully. You give him 7 years in prison, no probation, no nothing, with no criminal record whatsoever, man. It's just the way the game goes, man. You know what I mean? Keep your nose clean out there. Because it seems like any situation, any opportunity that they have, they're going to send you to the penitentiary, man. The only way to stay out here is obviously just not doing anything, period. Or if you're doing what Jay was doing. Heinous, messing with little boys, little kids, and gets 12 months misdemeanor. Real Kings TV, man. Hopefully y'all like the video. I'm disgusted now. Hopefully y'all like the video, as I was saying. Definitely like it, comment, share, subscribe to the Chizown if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. A lot of people saying they're not getting the notifications when I drop my videos. I don't know what's going on. Only thing I can do is just keep grinding. Keep pushing. Every day I'm dropping something. If I miss a day, I promise you I'll be back the following day. I'll just keep checking. Definitely keep commenting. Definitely keep liking and sharing my videos. Engagement. That's how YouTube, that's how you blow up on YouTube. A lot of people, dang, kids, I can't believe you ain't blown up yet. It takes time. It's a process. I understand that it's stairs. It's not an elevator. It's not a microwave world, even though we live in a microwave world. But I need you all to engage with me. YouTube sees that, okay, well, let's push this out to, 100,000 people this time. First, we only pushed it to 20. Let's push it out to 100,000. Oh, the people still engaging. They liking the videos. They sharing it. They commenting. Let's push it out to another couple 100,000. And they put my channel in front of more people. That's how you blow up. That's how you see these individuals, the Dantes from the Dante Show Network. Shout out. The Jay Williams. Shout out to Jay Williams. Free Jay Williams. The Big Hurts. These individuals like this, Joe Bakers, Banky Pounds, all of these guys, because they're putting their channels out in front of more people. They're getting that engagement. So that's what I need from you all. Real Kings TV, man.